Peter Chang here for Macho Cave, and in part 8 of Build Your Own Computer, we're going to go ahead and install the hard drive. And the hard drive we chose for this particular project is the Western Digital 2 terabytes Black Edition. And Western Digital makes quite a few different hard drives, and they all look relatively similar. They only differ just a little bit in pricing. If you're sort of price conscious, the green edition is good, and then there's a blue edition. Green edition spins at 5,200 RPMs or less. Blue edition spins at 5,400 RPMs about, and the black edition spins at 7,200 RPM. Because this is a OEM drive, an original equipment manufacturer drive, we actually bought this on Amazon. We see that it's packaged in Amazon's frustration-free packaging. So, because it's frustration-free packaging, it's not much to look at really. It's just really all you get with this drive is just the drive. So, you notice that the drive doesn't come with any SATA cables or anything like that. To install the drive, we're going to go ahead and remove the side panel of the opposite side of the case so that we could actually access the drive bays. This is done just by removing the 2 screws and just pulling the panel back. So once we have the panel removed, we're going to go ahead and remove 4 screws from the drive bay itself. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this screw here, just kind of get that loosened up. And let's see, maybe we'll put this one back here. It seems like this is actually the middle of the drive cage. So let me just screw this one back in. I actually need to go one step lower to remove the bottom one. So let's go down a little bit here. So I'm going to start by removing the very bottom so I make sure I get the right one. But this is a very good case because it's got everything just kind of in segments. So if you need to access that middle fan, you would remove those top 4 screws. To access the bottom part of the drive cage, I'm going to remove these bottom 4 screws here. So here we go, almost done on this side, and it's too tight, so I just need the screwdriver. So we'll go ahead and get this side out of the way. Alright, got that screw here. Then we just need to go to the opposite side of the computer and remove the other 4 screws here. So let's go ahead and reposition this. And I'm just going to adjust the camera so we can see this better. There we go. Get that in focus. And I'm just going to remove those bottom 4 screws here. And once we get these 4 screws out of the way, the drive bay actually just slides straight out, and we can just pull out the drive bay and easily install in our hard drive. So one thing to keep in mind is that because it's recessed and the drive is going to be a little bit out of the way, you might need to make sure your hard drive is actually jumpered correctly. In this system build, I'm only going to use 1 hard drive. I'm only going to install 1 master drive. So by default, the drive ships in the master jumpered configuration. So I don't have to really worry about the jumpers at all. But just so you know, if you're going to install 2 hard drives, you might want to jumper 1 for, leave 1 jumpered at master, and then maybe a second jumper at slave, for example, or a secondary hard drive. So there we go. Got all 4 screws out. I'm just going to push a little bit at the back, and it should pop out a little bit towards the front here. If you remember, like, the front of the case doesn't have anything to pull against, so there we are. There we are. So let's go ahead and just pull this one straight back. Here we could see the internal case fan, and it's actually a really good case fan. And now we actually have access to the drive bays. So we're going to go ahead and insert our Western Digital 2 gig hard drive in there. And just going to push this right into the center. And you could actually install this anywhere in the drive bay. You can install in the top slot, middle slot, or bottom slot. My preference is really just towards the middle of the slots in there because the fan could cool the hard drive pretty effectively. And now I just have to worry about actually just lining up the hard drive screw areas to that of the hard drive bay. And I also need to find the longer case screw so that it could bore all the way through the hard drive bay and securely fasten in the internal hard drive. So I just need to go ahead and sift through my pile of screws until I find the correct 4, and I'll be on my way to installing this thing. So, and you see this screw bay is a little bit longer, and I'm just going to do a test fit to make sure that this is the correct screw. There's a ton of screws that came with my Antec case, so I just need to make sure I have the correct one. And it does look like the correct one, so we'll go ahead and just align this in here a little bit better. And it looks like I need to use a little bit of force to kind of bore this thing through to make sure that it's actually going through there. I'm just double checking that it's going through the right way. And I'm going to go ahead and align that so that that would actually screw in correctly. So don't be afraid to use a little bit of force when needed when you're building out the case here. And what I've been finding is that it really doesn't stick out too much in the other end all that much. And I'm not going to quite tighten it because I need to insert 3 other additional screws. So I'm going to go ahead and save the tightening once I've made sure the other 3 screws are actually fitting in a tad better. So just kind of once again, this becomes an exercise of patience. So a little bit of patience, a little bit of skill. And also Western Digital also makes another set of hard drives, the Velociraptor. Those drives spin at 10,000 RPMs, and those are actually they actually spin up really fast. One thing about the Velociraptor though is that because it does spin faster, the drive capacity is smaller. I have this computer more in mind of a kind of a gaming computer and also a content creation computer. So for this build, I decided to opt for the 2 gig, or not 2 gig, but sorry, 2 terabyte hard drive. So we got the 3rd screw in, and that's going good. We're going to go ahead and place in the 4th screw. So you see me building this thing warts and all, just want to show you that if I could build a system like this, you could most definitely build it as well. And chances are you're perhaps more skilled at it than I am. Here we are. We've got that side built in. Awesome. That's fitting nicely. And it's looking great. It just looks awesome. Very cool. It's all fitting in very nicely. Now all I have left to do is just reinsert it back into the drive bay and then reinsert my 4 bay screws on this side. And once I get this side in, all you have to do is I just have to insert in the same 4 screws at the opposite side, and then I am all set. So just remember, it just takes a little bit of patience, and that's all it really does take. And what's awesome is that now you know how to open up the Antec 900 case drive bays, and you too could actually insert in your drive of choice. Now, if I was going to insert an SSD drive, you could actually insert it in with the kind of a side panel, or 5 1/4 to 3.5 inch drive bay panel as well. Well, thanks for watching my video, and remember, everything matters.